There are homes on the market right now in Sarasota that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And the scary thing about it is most buyers have no idea what they're walking into. Now, I've toured thousands of homes here in Sarasota, and I started my career in real estate working for a professional wholesaling company. And believe me, we saw some of the most disgusting, rank, smelly homes that you could ever possibly imagine. And I know right away when a house just isn't worth it. So in this video, I'm breaking down the types of houses that I would never buy right here in Sarasota. Plus, I'm going to give you the red flags that I look for so that you don't unknowingly make a costly mistake. And stick with me until the end because number 8 might really surprise you. It's a mistake that even experienced buyers make. Type 1, homes with environmental deal breakers. So when buyers fall in love with a house, they usually get tunnel vision. But what's around that house can really make or break that investment. So in Sarasota, think about flood zones, AE or some other kind of flood zone. Now, I've had buyers call me when they're shocked that they get a $6,000 flood insurance quote because they didn't realize that their dream home was on that really wrong side of the FEMA map. And then there's things like busy roads. We've got plenty of them here. Gammy Trail, Fruitville, I-75. I once showed a house, a really gorgeous house near Clark Road, and the buyers were absolutely in love with that home. But when they walked out into the backyard and walked right back to their car, they knew that that wasn't for them. The backyard was practically an extension of I-75, and standing outside, all you heard was trucks and noise. How about under a flight path? Now, if you're near the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, you'll probably hear a lot of planes. And sellers always say, oh, you get used to that. But there's a reason that the county tore down many of the homes in the flight path there and paid millions of dollars to soundproof some others. So watch that. And what about a home next to a fire station? Great for safety, but sirens, 2 a.m., not so great. And how about power lines? Nope, not from a health concern. Most of those have been debunked, but they can definitely mess with your cell reception or your radio reception. And last on these, directly across from a school. Now, parents, they love that convenience, but check out the school pattern before you buy. Now, traffic jams twice a day, that can sometimes drive you crazy. And even maybe you have some Friday night lights, and that can turn that convenience into a nightmare. As always, zoom out on that Google map and visit that neighborhood during rush hour. Type number 2, those hidden money pits. Now, homes from the 70s and 80s, even in the 90s in Sarasota, they can look charming, but they often come with some surprising expenses because homes built during that time frame in Sarasota, they weren't always built the best. I'd watch those. And of course, watch out for aging roofs. I mean, in today's Florida, insurance companies, they're going to flag those as end of life, and they will force you to replace those before reinsuring. And then, of course, there's outdated HVAC systems. I mean, in Florida, humidity, old AC units, I mean, that's a ticking time bomb. And my pet peeve is builder-grade windows from the 80s and 90s. You'll see these fog glass, old windows, cheap windows everywhere, and replacement costs that can run $20,000 to $30,000. And remember, if you're not replacing with impact glass, then you're going to be required by code to get those hurricane protection panels on the outside as well. And how about polybutylene plumbing? I mean, stuff like that, copper pipes. I once saw a home in Gulfgate that had 3 active leaks. Gulfgate was notorious for that back in the day. And along with that can be some cast iron drain lines. I mean, that's very common in some of these older Sarasota homes. I've seen buyers face like $40,000 quotes that tear up all those slabs and replace all them. I would look into some other options, possibly maybe have them lined. I had a friend recently do that. Still can be expensive, but maybe a half or a third of the cost. And last in this group is that T111 wooden siding. Expect to paint and seal that regularly, or else you're going to end up with rot, and then you're going to end up with termites and carpenter ants. I'd replace it with a concrete composite board, maybe like a Hardy board or something like that. And unless the price reflects these hidden repairs, I'd renegotiate, very hard renegotiations, or I'd walk away. Type number 3, those older homes without updated hurricane protection. Now, Florida changed the codes back in 2002. So anything older without updates should make you pause because no impact windows, no hurricane straps, or maybe some older garage doors. One bad storm could be some damage there. And when you get that damage, there's a good chance that you're going to end up with higher insurance premiums. So build the cost of that hurricane protection into your expected upgrades. Think about it when you're buying. It will reduce your insurance and probably give you more peace of mind as well. Type number 4, those flat roof homes without proper drainage. Now, flat roofs and low slung built up roofs, those were very popular in the mid-century builds here in Sarasota and the surrounding areas. The problem is they really just don't play well in Florida's rainy summers. Built-up roofs were basically like a rolled roof membrane, and it was covered with tar or gravel. And I tore one of those off on my very first Sarasota renovation, and I filled up an entire dumpster by myself. And the neighbor, he had told me about the previous owner who would pour cans of paint all over the roof to try to stop the leaks. So unless they've been completely redone or updated, these roofs can be a constant headache. Type number 5, the problem flip. I mean, Sarasota attracts a lot of flippers, and I've seen more than my fair share over the years. Some, they do it right, but many don't. And you've got that classic gray walls, white trim, new backsplash, trendy fixtures. I mean, cosmetically, they look great at first glance, but then you open that panel and the electrical system is just a rat's nest of wiring, and you check deeper and you've got rotting, painted over fascia. I mean, overall, you've got that musty smell. It might be covered up by an abundance of air fresheners. You got sewers that run slow, crawl space leaks. And I once had a flipper, and this is a true story. I once had a flipper that kept seeing a reoccurring stain on one corner of the wall. Couldn't figure out what it was, but the contractor tore into it and found out that the wall was saturated in dog urine, painted over with many coats of paint. So here's a red flag. If a house is sold 3 or 4 times in just a few years, chances are that people are catching up to these issues after moving in. So if you love the home, make sure you check for the permits, of course, and please have a thorough inspection. Type number 6, wood frame homes. I mean, in Florida, it can be a termite paradise. So watch out for piles of wet wood or any kind of wood stacked against the house. Now, if you open that closet door or you check the window seal and you see that there's piles of sawdust at the base or on the seals themselves, termites have probably paid a visit. So masonry block is king here. But if you do buy a wood frame, just make sure that it has a current termite warranty. Make sure it's checked out, you get a termite inspection, and then keep it in place. That's money well spent. Type number 7, bad neighbors equals a bad investment. So you can't always pick your neighbors, but you can notice when you see some red flags. I once showed a beautiful home in Gulf Gate, perfect upgrades, great layout, but the neighbor's backyard looked more like a junkyard, complete with a boat on blocks right there in the back. Now my buyers, they loved the house, but they knew when it came time to sell, that neighbor would scare any buyer away. Type number 8, a bad lot with poor drainage issues. So Florida is essentially flat, but the lot positioning still really matters. Homes that kind of sit in a bowl, those often flood during a heavy summer rain. And I once saw a home in Venice where the backyard literally became kind of like a lake every July. The sellers, they had a good sense of humor. They called it waterfront living. But I myself got caught on the very first home that I ever bought in my life, right here in Sarasota. So the first weekend, we had some friends over for dinner. And as it started raining, we looked out the back of our family room and the water started rising and rising against the house. So it turns out that the corner gables of the roof came together to form a valley where all the water poured out into the corner. And with no gutters and poor grading, it kind of flooded that portion of the yard. So my wife and friends, they really just kind of enjoyed watching me getting out there, getting totally drenched in the rain as I grabbed a grill scraper and I'm trying to dig a trench away from the house to get the water away from the house. Needless to say, the next day I went out and bought some tools for my very first house, but it can happen to me. So remember, you can renovate the house, but the lot can be a lot harder to fix. So the best time to see a house, especially after a really hard rain. Check it out. Type number 9, homes with small or shaded lots, especially if you want solar or a pool. Now, a lot of buyers, they move here dreaming of solar panels on the top of their Florida homes or a backyard pool. But if your lot is too shaded or too tight, bad dreams never gonna happen. I once showed a house, a beautiful house there in Nokomis with a tiny yard, and they really wanted a pool, but that setback, those rules, they made it impossible. And if you love trees, just make sure that they're a good distance from the home. I've had many people tell me how the roots had invaded their drain lines, or that the insurance company required that tree that's right next to the house had to be removed before they would reinsure. And I've had good friends who were out of their home recently for over 6 months this past winter because a tree fell in their house, a tree that I had warned them about. Type number 10, those homes near tourist zones or seasonal hotspots. Now, it may look peaceful in the off season, but come January or February, traffic and noise can be constant. And that charming house off of Tamiami Trail or near Siesta Key Village, it might feel like paradise now, but until those spring breakers set up camp across the street, oh boy. Or that cut through traffic that cuts past your house and your driveway on the way to the beach every day, not so great. So there you have it, the types of homes that I would personally avoid here in Sarasota, and the red flags that I think you should look for before you ever make an offer. Now, the truth is there's no perfect house, but avoiding these mistakes can save you thousands of dollars and probably years of regret. Now, I've put together a free red flag checklist for you. You can download it. It's called 20 Things That You Can Spot Before You Ever Write an Offer. You'll find it in the description below and pinned in the comment. In fact, I'm so sure that you'll find the right house through me. If you're not happy with your new home, in the next 12 months, we'll either buy it back or we'll sell it again for free. Now, if you find these tips helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more Sarasota area real estate insights. Let me know in the comments what's the biggest red flag that you've ever seen while you were looking for a home. For Living and Buying in Sarasota, I'm Rob Rovnak. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.